Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. And this week I've been focusing on the ways that we as church have to change and have to be different in this new normal than we were before. And one of the things that we have to do is we as churches have got to learn to do one or two things great. One of the phrases I use often to my children is I make them define multitasking. And here's my definition of multitasking. I say, boys, I've got two boys, boys, what's the definition of multitasking? And they can spout it out with that. It's doing nothing well, Dad. It's doing nothing well. Because if you're doing all these things, it's impossible for you to do one of them with 100% greatness. To limit and focus, to give clarity, instead of doing a shotgun approach to rifle it in, to target zero, get it zeroed in on the target means that we do much better. And so doing one or two things great is something that we as the church have to learn to do. Now, before the pandemic and before this, we as churches, we tried to do all things to all people. It says so in the scriptures. We'll try to do that. And so we tried to have this program and that program, and anybody who showed up on our doorstep with a new idea, who said, I've got a passion for this ministry, let's go do it. We'd say, go for it, go do it. We can't do that anymore. And maybe we should have never been doing it. Because every single church has been called, every single group has been called to reach out to a group of people, to an affinity group, to a neighborhood, or to a community that God has entrusted them to be the ones who lead in discipleship. And so we have got to get to community, reaching out in our communities as community-driven churches. Remember, get small, get local, get nimble, connected. But we have to do one or two things really, really great, rather than trying to do everything. And where that comes from comes from a discernment process in which we as churches strive to go about looking at what it means to have a vision, what it means to think about what God is calling us to do, the how. How does God want us to make disciples? And from that vision, there should be some really key filters that we use to choose which ministries we say yes to, and Lord have mercy, which ministries we say no to. And we have to do that. We have to be able to say no to some things. Warren Buffett there's a story about Warren Buffett and a pilot that I love, in which the pilot is flying Warren Buffett and he asks Warren Buffett, how should I prioritize my life? And Warren Buffett says, well, write down the top 30 things you want to accomplish in life. And so the pilot does so. And then Warren Buffett says, okay, those top 5, that's your first priority. That's what you want to do. Do these 5 things. And then he says, and the rest? And the pilot interrupts him and says, I know. These are the secondary ones. And Warren Buffett apparently said, no. Avoid those things, number 6 on down. Avoid them with all possible. Avoid them. They're treachery. They're dangerous because they will suck the life out of your top 5. You see, narrowing down and having focus, choosing one school to do a ministry with rather than all the schools in the county, saying no to something good so that something you are doing can be great. Do one or two things great. Multitasking is doing nothing well. Today, reflect on what you are called to do, how you are called to make disciples. What are the one or two ways that God is calling you to greatness? Amen.